Hi guys, welcome to Pure Yoga. So today is going to be a forward reverse sequence. So we do all the poses and then reverse back through them. We're going to do 2 rounds, but both rounds will be different poses in them. Let's come to laying on the mat first. So bringing our backs to the floor, bringing our feet long to the edges of the mat width apart, palms facing up, close the eyes, make sure the spine is in one long line. The pelvis is comfortable, the shoulders are relaxed, the face and muscles across it are all relaxed and you're feeling heavy and supported by the mat. Take a good long deep breath in and a good long sigh out through the mouth and let the floor support the body weight. Take a scan from the head to the fingers to the toes. Check in with how you feel. All those different sensations throughout the body. Not trying to judge them, just noticing them and being aware of them as you move around your mat. When you've taken that scan of the body, bring the focus then back to the breath. Take another long deep breath in through the nose. And a long sigh out through the mouth. If you're happy to connect in with Ujjayi breathing, slight restriction at the back of the throat with a raspy sound that only you can hear. With just the nose breath, but if you are holding any colds or allergies, continue to use the out breath through the mouth. Bring the feet together at the bottom of the mat, then bring a bend into the knees and the feet hip width apart. Hands down flat, breath in, raise the hips up towards the ceiling and hold the hips at the top. Squeeze the bum, stretch that front chain of the thighs and the hip flexors and around those abdominals. Create space across the neck. And then start to lift the hands up towards the ceiling and send them back to the back of the mat, still keeping the hips lifted, and just let the hands settle to the floor above the head. Squeeze the bum a little more to raise the hips a little higher. Relax through the shoulders, relax through the back of the neck. Relax the jaw, muscles across the face. The activation is coming through the back body to keep the hips lifted. On an out breath, slowly lift the arms and lower the hips, bringing everything back to the mat. Bring the knees in towards the chest, elbows to inside of the knees. Take a hold of shins, ankles or outsides of the feet. Point the heels up, heels stacking over the knees, knees drawing in towards the armpits, thighs to outside of the ribs. And then just rock the body from side to side, maybe knee tapping left knee to left side of the mat, and then coming back over right knee to right side of the mat, using some abdominal muscles to hold yourself from going too far over one way or too far over the other. Just a little tap of the knees if you can. Just relaxing through the shoulders. Just activating through the core. And then bringing yourself back to a still position. Bring the elbows to the outside of the knees and then just stretch the back chain of muscles and then bring the knees back into a bend. Just holding on to wherever you reach, moving in and out of stretch and flex. One more movement in and out. And then the next time you go into stretch, hold that stretch. Pushing the heels up, keeping the tailbone down as flat as you can to the mat. Shoulders relaxed. The stretch is coming through that back chain and a little activation through the thighs to straighten the legs. Bring a bend into your right knee, take a hold of the crease of that knee and keep the left leg straight. We're going to rock up into a balancing position with the right knee bent, left leg straight. So maybe just take a little momentum first. And then the next time you come to a seat, try and find that balancing point. Heel of the left foot pushing away, knee of the right drawn in towards the chest. And then allow yourself to rock back. Swap legs, bend into your left knee and hold on to the crease of the left knee and point the right heel up. And then just rock up and down a little momentum first. And then find that balance point. Left knee into the chest, right heel pushing away. And then lay yourself back down, both knees into the chest. Rock up and down a couple of times, up to seated once, back down. Up to seated twice. And then on the third, bring yourself again to a balancing point, both knees bent. Then straighten both legs and release the hands. Send the torso slightly back. And then try and lift the legs a little higher and the chest a little closer to the thighs. One more breath here. And then take the knees into a bend. Either swing the legs around or tuck them under, stepping yourself back to a plank position. Holding plank for a couple of breaths. Soft elbows, a slight protraction through the shoulders, so that chest being pushed into that space between the shoulder blades. Nice wide fingers to have a good grounding. Feet hip width apart. On your next breath in, lift up with the hips, squeeze the heels back, find your downward facing dog. Maybe have a little nod and a shake of the head here. Maybe a little paddle through those feet. Taking those hamstrings again and calves in and out of stretch and flex. Then bringing those heels to a still position, pushing the chest back to the thighs, creating some space across those collarbones. On an out breath, drop the elbows towards the mat. On an in breath, lift them back away. Out breath, drop the elbows. In breath, lift away. Two more. Out breath, drop the elbows. In breath, lift away. Last one. And lift. Push the chest back. Weight stays in the left foot as your right leg lifts. Let's bend the right knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the right knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands, step your right foot through. Drop your left knee to the mat. Sink your hips towards the right heel. Right knee going maybe slightly beyond the toes of that right foot. Hands are planted, squeeze of the left bum cheek to push that left hip lower. Then just lift up slightly through the chest and send the gaze forward. One more breath here. And then raise the hands up, the torso to stack over that left knee. Push into the feet firmly. And then bring the hands down to the mat and bring the right toes back towards the right shin. So we're taking a hamstring stretch down that right leg. Take a breath in, elongate the spine, push the rib cage forward. Out breath, maybe fold a little deeper over that right leg. Start to walk the hands back towards that right foot. Tuck the back toes under and lift up with the back knee. Keep the left hand planted. Raise the right hand up to the ceiling, twist from the waist. Try not to let that left hip drop any lower than the right. The movement comes from the waistline and the thoracic spine. The gaze can be up towards that right thumb. Try and stack the right shoulder as much as you can on top of the left, using that left arm as an anchor to help you twist. Then bring your right hand back to the mat. Come onto the tips of the fingers. Step onto your right foot and raise your left leg up to hip height. Draw and lift the belly away from the mat. Find some stability first through that standing right leg. And then just bring the hands up and away from the mat, bringing the hands together at the chest. Nice long line from the crown of the head back towards that left heel. Hold that space of warrior 3. Then release the hands back towards the mat. Bring your left foot back to meet your right at the front of the mat. Bend into the knees. Raise the arms up. Lift the chest away from the thighs. Tuck your tailbone down, lift your lower belly up, and sink a little lower in the hips with a feather-like touch through the toes. Long breaths in, long breaths out. Bring the hands then together at the chest. Lean forward more with the torso. Left elbow hooks the right knee. Push into that knee with the elbow and twist and rotate through the spine. Sink the hips lower. Keep that feather-like touch through the toes. Raise the hands back up. Come back to neutral chair. And then bring the hands back together at the chest. Start to straighten through the legs. Bring your left knee up to hip height. Weight into your right foot. Turn the knee out. Bring the ankle onto the top of the right knee. Take a bend into the right knee and sink the hips. Figure 4, standing balance. Left knee dropping out. Standing on that right leg. Breathe into the depth of the pose. And the focus is on something just in front of you. Start to come back up to a standing position. Bring the left knee back forward. Right hand onto the left knee. Left hand up and over. Turn and twist the torso to the left. If you want to take a hold of the big toe on the left foot with the right hand and straighten that right leg out to that 90 degree angle, or keep that left knee bent. Try and twist through that torso a little more, keeping the pelvis facing forward. Then take a bend back into the left knee if it's not already. Then bring the left hand back up and over, taking a hold of the knee with both hands. Squeeze the knee in towards the chest. Okay, let's reverse back through. Keep the right hand on your left knee. Bring your left hand up and over and twist to the left. Reversing all the way back through all those poses. Really fatiguing that standing right leg. You can use that left leg straight if you wish. Then bring a bend back into that left knee. Bring your left hand up and over. Bring that left ankle top of the right thigh, hands to the chest. Sink into those hips. Bring then that leg of the right back straight and plant the left foot back to the mat. Sink the hips, raise the arms. Finding our chair position, feather-like touch through the toes, tailbone tucked under, lower belly lifted. Then bringing the hands back together at the chest, left elbow, right knee, and rotate to the right. And then plant the hands down to the mat, straighten through both legs. Send your left leg back and up to hip height. Standing right leg, lift the hands away from the mat, bring the hands to the chest and lift the belly away from the floor. Keep the left hip bone in line with the right hip bone. Holding that warrior 3 just for another breath. And then planting the hands to the mat, stepping your left foot back. Keep your left hand grounded and reach your right hand up towards the ceiling, maybe gazing to that thumb, twisting through the waist. Try not to drop into that left hip. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Drop your left knee to the floor. Start to walk the hands back towards the left knee and toes of the right foot back towards the shins. Take a breath in, elongate that spine. Take a breath out, fold over that right thigh. Then on your next breath in, start to plant the right foot, raise the hands up towards the ceiling. And then sink the hips towards that right heel and bring the hands back down towards the mat, fingertips to touch. Lift up through the chest, squeeze the left bum cheek to push that hip down. And then planting the hands firmly, tucking the back toes under, lifting the back knee. Step your right foot up towards the ceiling, bend the knee and stack up with the hips. Then realign the hips, bring the right foot back to meet the left. Left foot onto the back of the right calf and squeeze that right heel down. And then place that left foot back to the mat and take a vinyasa. Forward to plank, inhale. Lowering your variation towards the floor or hover, exhale. Lift up with the chest on an inhale. Your choice to make your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs, or rolling over those toes, lifting up at the hips and a squeeze of those heels back. Just noticing how that right leg feels after all that work on the right side. We're now going to give the left side the same experience. Weight stays in your right foot as your left leg lifts. Bend the knee, stack up with the hips. Then realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest, step the left foot through, drop your right knee to the mat and untuck the right toes. Push that right bum cheek down so the right hip flexor stretches. Left knee may be going slightly beyond the toes of that left foot. Getting into that quad on the right and the hip flexor on the right. And then start to push into the feet and raise the hands up towards the ceiling. And then release the hands to the mat and straighten through your left leg, toes of the left foot back towards the shins. Take a breath in here, elongate the spine, and on an out breath, fold that chest towards that thigh, but without rolling through the shoulders. Keep pointing that chest forward. Then walking the hands back towards that left foot. Tuck your back toes under and lift your back knee. Keep your right hand grounded, reach your left hand up to the ceiling, gazing up towards that left thumb. Stacking left shoulder on top of the right, rotation coming from the waist. Pushing that right heel back as far as you can to the back of the room. Then releasing that left hand back down to the mat. Stepping onto your left foot and lifting your right leg up to hip height, toes pointing down to the mat. Lift the belly away from the mat, lift the hands away from the mat and bring the hands to the chest. Try not to let the right hip bone lift any higher than the left hip bone. Almost so I could plant something on that lower back without that right hip lifting and tipping it off. Keep nice and strong in that core centre. Nice and long through the crown of the head back towards that right heel. One more breath here. And then plant the hands down. Bring your right foot back to meet your left foot. Sink the hips, raise the hands, lift the chest away from the thighs. Feather-like touch through the toes, tailbone tucked under, Lower belly lifted, arms as high as you can. Torso in a slight 45-degree angle. Then bringing the hands to the chest, right elbow hooking your left knee, turn and twist to the left, keeping those hips low. Your next breath in, raise the hands back up, finding chair. And then bring the hands to the chest. Straighten up through both legs. And bringing your weight into your left foot and your right knee lifting. Turn the knee out, plant the ankle onto the top of the left thigh. Then bend into the left knee and drop the right knee out. Figure 4, standing balance. Keep your focus on something that's not moving in front of you. And then start to straighten through that standing leg. Bring your right knee forward, toes of the right foot back to the shins. Left hand onto your right knee, right hand up and over and twist to the right. You can stay here if you wish, or take a hold of the big toe on the right foot with the left hand, and then straighten the right leg out, keeping the twist through the torso. Or you can keep that knee bent if that feels more accessible. If the leg's straight, bend back into the knee, bring the right hand back up and over, and squeeze that knee in towards the chest. So we're taking it back in reverse now. So you can either keep that right knee bent, left hand on right knee, right hand up and over, or bring that right leg back straight by holding onto the toe and sending that heel forward. Really fatiguing again through this left leg. If the right leg is straight, bring a bend back into that knee, bring your right hand back up and over. Bring the hands together at the chest, right ankle onto the top of the left thigh. Bend into that left knee and find your figure 4 position. Straightening back up through that standing left leg and bring your right foot back to meet your left. Take a bend into the knees, raise the arms up, finding our chair. Feather-like touch through toes, tail down, belly lifted. Then bring the hands together at the chest. Right elbow hooks the left knee. Take a breath in, elongate. Take a breath out and rotate. Hips are nice and low. Heels are heavy, toes are light. And then plant the hands down to the mat and straighten up through the legs. Start to send your right leg back up to hip height, balancing on your left leg again. And then lift the chest away from the mat, lift the hands, lift up with the belly. Try and keep both hips nice and level. Finding warrior 3, tall through the crown, pushing back through that right heel, engaging the right thigh to straighten that leg. Then plant the hands, bend your left knee, step your right foot back. Right hand stays down as your left hand lifts and you gaze up to that left thumb, stacking left shoulder on top of the right, rotating through the waist. Then bring that left hand back to the mat, drop the right knee to the floor, untuck the back toes, walk the hands back towards that right knee and the toes of the left back towards that left shin. Take a breath in, push the rib cage forward, take a breath out and fold a little deeper over that left leg. Then start to flatten out with the left foot, raise the hands up to the ceiling. And then sink the hips down towards that left heel and bring the hands back to the mat with the fingertips touching. Squeeze the right bum cheek to push those hips further forward. Lift up through the chest, push that rib cage forward. And then planting the hands, tucking the back toes under, lifting the back knee, lift the left leg up to the ceiling, bend the knees, stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the left foot back to the mat. Right foot back onto the back of that left calf and squeeze that left heel down. Right foot back to the mat. Let's take ourselves through a vinyasa. Coming forward to plank, inhale. Lowering your variation, drop knees, straight bodies or hover. Lift up with the chest on the inhale. And find your transition back to down dog on the exhale. Back into down dog. On an out breath, lower the elbows. On an in breath, lift back up. 3 more. Lower the elbows, out breath. Lift back up, in breath. 2 more. And last one. Squeeze the heels back, chest back. Take a moment in down dog or come to the knees, maybe to take a water break or child's pose. Just for a couple of breaths. Before we take another flow of poses, going forward and then back in reverse. When you're ready, meet me back in down dog. I tend to come through tabletop first, back to plank second. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back third without fussing with those hands and feet. Weight stays in the left foot as your right leg lifts. Bend the right knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step that right foot through. Stabilise the feet first. Right arm windmills up and over to take our twisted warrior facing the right. Try and twist from the oblique muscles. Right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Finding that stability and depth in the hips. Then keeping the arms where they are, slowly transition around, dropping your left heel to the mat, and then turning your palms down, finding warrior 2. Maybe sink a little deeper into those hips. Tuck the tailbone down, lift the belly up. Then turn the right palm, reach the right hand up, left hand down the back of the left leg, and breathe into that right rib cage. Right shoulder drawn down as you reach in with the right hand. Right knee bent, tracking towards the little toe on that right foot, and pushing nice and firmly into outside of the back foot. Lift the torso back up, straighten the right leg, reach forward and down with the right hand as the left hand lifts, finding our triangle pose. Gazing up towards that left thumb. Breathing into both sides of the torso, long line right side, long line left side. Then bringing the left hand down to the mat, turn the chest towards that right leg and come onto the toes of the back foot. Pyramid pose. Breath in, elongate the spine, breath out, and fold over that right leg. If the hands don't quite reach the floor, a little more of a balance issue, bringing the hands onto that ankle of the right leg. Okay, plant the hands, bend the right knee, step onto the right foot and bring your left hand in front of you, fingertips down, and turn and twist to the right side of the room, reaching the right hand either to the ceiling or bringing the right hand onto the lower back. Left leg is lifted, hips are level, taking our reverse half moon pose. Maybe the gaze goes up to that right thumb to challenge the balance a little more. So we're going to be transitioning back from this place, just holding half moon for another breath. And then bringing that right hand down to the mat, stepping your left toes to the back of the mat, straightening both legs. Take a breath in, breath out and fold over that right leg. Pyramid pose again, reversing our way back through all these poses. Then dropping your left heel to the mat, bringing your right hand to inside of the right leg as you reach your left arm up, back to triangle pose. Long right side body, long left side body, head in line with the spine. Reaching down with the right fingers, up with the left. Then start to lift the shoulders to stack, bend into your right knee, turn your right palm, reach your right hand up, left hand down the back of the left leg. Breathing into that right rib cage, relaxing that right shoulder. And then finding yourself back to warrior two. Palms facing down, maybe gazing towards those right fingertips, sinking into that right thigh. Then turning the palms to the left, start to swivel through the torso, coming onto the toes of the back foot, sending this time your right hand back, left hand forward, twisting through our warrior pose. Sink into those hips, back leg nice and straight. And then windmill the hands down, either side of the right foot. Lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, bend the knees, stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the right foot back to meet the left and the left foot onto the back of the right calf, squeeze the right heel back. Plant the left foot back to the floor. Take yourself through a vinyasa. Forward to plank, inhale, and lower, exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale, and back to down dog on your exhale. Take a moment in down dog before we take those poses on that left side. Weight stays in your right foot as your left leg lifts. Bend the left knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the left knee into the chest. Step the left foot through, stabilise the feet first. Then the left hand comes up and over, twisting to the left, staying low in the hips. Palms are facing the left side of the room. Right hand forward, left hand back. Strong shoulders, strong arms. Then start to turn and pivot with the torso, dropping your right heel to the mat, bringing your left hand forward, right hand back, then turn the palms down to the floor and sink into those hips a little deeper, gazing towards those left fingertips. Turn the left palm, reach forward, send the left hand up and the right hand down the back of the right leg. Relax the left shoulder down, reach through the left hand, breathe into that left side rib cage. Whole sole of the left foot pushing into the mat, and particularly the outside of that right foot. Then lift the torso to stack, straighten the left leg, reach forward and down with the left hand as the right hand lifts. Long left side body, long right side body. Try not just to collapse over that left thigh. Keep the head in line with the spine. Left fingertips reaching down, right fingertips reaching up. Feeling that long straight torso, energy coming through that waistline. Then bring the right hand down and turn the chest towards the left thigh. Come onto the toes of the back foot, straighten the left leg. Pyramid pose, leaning over that left leg. If the hands don't reach, bring the hands to the shins or the ankles. That will challenge the balance a little more, so maybe you want to go to that space anyway. Just trying to fold that chest over that left thigh. Then bringing a bend into the left knee and stepping onto that left foot, lifting the right leg up to hip high. Keep your right hand forward at the front of the mat on the fingertips. Lift up with the left arm, turn the chest to the left. You can bring that left hand onto the lower back if you wish, if shoulders are a little tight. And then maybe gaze out to the side or up to that top hand, depending on how much that challenges your balance. Nice straight back leg, toes pointing down to the mat. Both hip bones nice and level. Left leg straight, taking a hamstring stretch. We're just holding this pose for one more breath before we start to travel back through all those poses. Bringing your left hand down to the mat, softening the left knee and stepping the right foot back onto the toes, and then straighten the left leg out. Take a long breath in, long breath out, and fold over that left thigh. Pyramid pose is our first pose to reverse back through. Try and use abdominal contraction to fold over that left leg. Quad contraction to straighten the left leg. Then drop your right heel to the mat. Bring your left hand to inside of the left foot as you reach the right hand up, or left hand inside of left shin or ankle, wherever it reaches. Again, create that long torso, maybe gazing up towards that right thumb, holding yourself nice and firmly with muscle engagement, rather than hanging out in that left hand. Starting to lift the torso up to stack. Bend into your left knee. Reach your left hand up to the ceiling. Right hand down the back of the right leg. Breathing into that left rib cage, sinking into the hips. Tracking the left knee towards the little left toe. Then finding your warrior two position, palms down, gazing towards the left fingertips, stabilising into the feet, firmly pushing into that mat. Then turn the palms to the right side and slowly turn the torso, coming onto the toes of the back foot as you twist yourself all the way around, keeping those hips nice and low. Pushing into the toes, pushing into the sole of the left. Torso not leaning too far forward or too far back. Breathing into that rib cage. And then on an out breath, windmill the hands down either side of the left foot. And on an in breath, lift the left leg up, bend the knees, stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the left foot back to meet the right. Bring your right foot onto the back of the left calf and squeeze that left heel back. Bring your weight back into both feet and take yourself through a vinyasa. Forward to plank, inhale. Lowering, exhale. Lift up with the chest, inhale. And back to down dog. On your exhale. Take a breath in, down dog. Another long breath in. Long breath out, lower the elbows. In breath, lift. 3 more, lower elbows, out breath. In breath, lift. 2 more, lower. In breath, lift. Last one, lower. In breath, lift. Come down onto the knees. Swing the feet around to the front of the mat, bum to the centre. Take a paddle of the legs as you arrive in this space. Bring the arms out to shoulder height and then slowly make your way down onto the mat. Bring yourself one vertebra at a time using core strength, long limbs. And when the lower back meets, bring the right knee into the chest, lift the left leg up. We're just going to bring ourselves back up to a seated position balance. So maybe get a little momentum first. And then the next time you come up, find that balance point. Squeeze the right knee into the chest and the left leg long. Release back down, swap legs, left knee bent, right leg straight. One rock of momentum. And then this time find balancing point. Right leg straight, left knee into the chest. Lower yourself back down, take a bend into both knees, rock up and down 3 times. And on your third, find that balance point. Stretch the right leg straight, the left leg straight, maybe release hands, hold that balancing point, point through the toes. One more breath here. Then take a hold of the knees, rock down onto the back. Bring the elbows to the inside of the knees, take a hold of ankles or outsides of feet, and then point the heels up, knees in towards the armpits, thighs into sides of the ribs, and then just knee tap one side, then the other. Just a couple of more both sides. And then bring the knees into the centre, elbows to outside, straight in through the legs, toes back to the shins, tailbone down, heels pushing away, activating thighs to straighten those legs. Bring the knees into the bend and the feet flat to the mat, hands by the side of the body. Push into the feet, raise the hips all the way up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the bum at the top, out breath, bring those hips back towards the mat. 2 more of those, breath in, raise the hips. Breath out and lower. Last one, raise the hips. And breath out, lower. This time when you raise the hips, hold them up high. Squeeze the bum at the top. Raise the hands up towards the ceiling. Send them back to the back of the mat. Keep squeezing the bum. Hips stay high. Knees not going any further than hip width apart. And then slowly lower the bum and lift the hands back up and over. Plant everything flat. Straighten the legs out to the length of the mat. Feet dropping out to the side. Turn the palms up. Make sure your spine is in a long line and the tailbone is tucked down and under. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. Take a turn of the head in both directions. And then bringing it back to a centre space when you've done so. Take a long deep breath in. And a long sigh out of the mouth, let the body be heavy. Take a scan from the head to the fingers to the toes. Check in with how your body feels now compared to the beginning of practice. Have you loosened the tight spots? Have you strengthened the weak spots? Just taking a few moments to consolidate everything you've just done. Starting to take longer breaths in. Long sigh out through the mouth. Draw that breath in. Squeeze that breath out. Another long deep breath in. Another long sigh out. If you want to stay here for longer, pause me now. Or if you're coming out with me, take a wriggle of the fingers, wriggle of the toes, maybe a rotation through the wrists and ankles. If you wish to find a full body stretch, stretch the hands up and over the head, stretch through the fingers, the toes, maybe arch into the lower back, flare those ribs. Then bringing the hands back up and over, the knees in towards the chest, maybe have a little rock of that body from side to side. Massage that spine, thanking it for practice. And then making your way to a seat, either rolling to your side or rocking up and down the spine a couple of times if you're feeling active. And then when you find your seat, keep the eyes gently closed. Take a fold of the legs or sit on the knees or have the feet pointing forward. Hands on top of the thighs. Tall through the spine, relax through the shoulders, slight bow through the head. On your next in-breath, reach the hands up and over the head. Bring the palms together at the top. On an out-breath, bring the hands to the chest and a soft gaze to the floor. Breathe in wisdom and peace. Breathe out love and joy. From my heart to yours, Namaste.